everyone. Welcome to the Lemon Narrative with Sabrine. I'm Sabrine, your host. I am a screenwriter, storyteller, and obviously your host. Today, I have a very special guest with me. His name is Modathir, and he's from Sudan, just like me. So I'm very, very, very excited to have him to listen to his story. And as usual, I'll let Modathir introduce himself. Hi, Modathir. Welcome.
Hi, Sabrine. I am honored to be on your podcast and thank you. Thank you for having me. And there isn't much to introduce, honestly. I am just a Sudani kid who is still figuring it out in this world. And
I still think you're a kid, too.
yeah, a
Okay.
31 years old kid, thank you very
Okay.
much,
You're welcome.
from Sudan, and who was trying to figure out in this flowing rocket that we live in on. And
Mm.
yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'm so bad at introducing myself. This is my first time being in a podcast, by the way. So thank you for the
Yeah.
honor one more time.
You're welcome.
So
I'm honored
yeah,
to have
so
you to be like the first time you go into podcast. It's the Lemon Narrative. I am very happy. You're
I
someone
am
who
very happy as well.
you're someone who I look up to because, and I was talking to
Oh,
another Sudani friend that you guys, her name is Ra, and you'll be watching in that episode. It was a great episode, and we were talking about how you and Sarah, are BS on Blast, are so good at covering what's happening in Sudan, and it takes a lot of energy, right, and dignity and hard, very hard work, and how you two are basically my resources, our resources for news,
oh,
because we cannot fathom the news, we cannot look at it, so we just depend on you, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of Sudanese people who live in diaspora feel the same, because it's very hard to look at the news. We are getting calls from back home. We know where's who, etc., and we're thinking about everyone back home, right? So, what a friend said to me before is like, we hear there's a village that has been burned or people are killed, and you're like, which village? Right? Because you
yeah,
think, is this my village? And then you realize it's not your village. You feel relieved, but at the same time, you're still sad because these are still your people, right? And with
yeah,
everything happening around the world as well, it's not the only genocide, as we all know, but it's one of the most neglected one. And as
mm,
someone who lives in North America, and probably for yourself as well, because I believe you live in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia.
yeah. I live in Saudi Arabia. Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
the people around you are just living their life, you know.
Wow. If I
The
speak.
to that. Please do. No, you're here today to speak, Mudathir. So please speak.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
how you feel about this. The people around you are living their life,
Mm,
and I know that your family is still back home, your immediate family. So let's talk about that.
yeah.
How do you feel about this?
Well, honestly, I want to go back to when you mentioned Sarah via some blast. She is an inspiration of mine. And it hit me a little bit when you said like someone you look up to. Is like it never hit me. Like I never. So I'm very humbled by that. I'm very humbled. And Ra as well is someone I like. It inspires me every day. I see
It's
Ra as
amazing.
someone who's very courageous, honestly.
Mm.
And so yeah, so thank you for that. Regarding, I live in a place where nobody cares about what's happening, and I say the word cares like intentionally. It's not because they don't know; it's just they don't care.
They don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, and and unfortunately, it's a truth that we have to come to terms with. Like you have to give in to the fact that nobody cares. So my feelings towards it are really numb. I think I had enough training for that. Like being from Darfur, I
Mm.
I moved to Khartoum when I was like 17 for my college degree, and I noticed not everybody knows what's happening in Darfur. Lots of people
Mm.
don't know, and it's a story shared by me and many other people. I was seeing fundraisers and campaigns to collect donations, clothes, and everything to help the people of the war in Khartoum. And when I asked, okay, and I was like, oh. So some people know it was actually for people in Syria, and yeah, it was not
Wow.
for people in Sudan. So I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
here they don't know. So it trained me to where I am today. So I know how to navigate that very well. I don't feel much about it. I feel very numb when someone says that because it's immediate in my head, like, yeah, Mudathir, it's your cause, but nobody really care about your cause. They don't care. And that's how it became like they just live their life by because they do know. They know. They don't care.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They do know.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
I've come to that truth as well.
Yeah. Mm.
Maybe in my scale as someone who lives in Canada, there are
Mm.
people well, that's it. There are people who don't know that there's Sudan. Yeah, when it's that's you guys, you're listening to us, we're laughing. That's a trauma response. We have to deal with this, right? So I come to I met someone in Ottawa when I was like doing my undergrad, and I went to I was working part-time in a community center, and she said, oh, where are you from? What's your background? And I said, Sudan. And she said, Sudan? Is that the country? I was like, yeah. I was like, wait, the Nile, but it originate, but it becomes one Nile. It merged together in my country. We have pyramids. We have this, and I started like telling her, and she's just like clueless. It didn't stop here. It went to her 6 months later, telling me that she found Sudan on the map. And I'm just like,
Oh.
okay, sorry about that. I was like, I was like, what do you mean you found Sudan on the map? She's like, it's a real country. I was like, I was speechless. So on a bigger scale, there are those people
Mm.
who actually have no idea what's happening. They don't care to know even, right? And some people who, when they know, like Jen and Curry, when they know about things, they actually actively try to educate others
Mm.
and each other, and ask, the right questions, and understand that it is their duty to know. It's not my duty to inform you fully everything. It my duty to tell you what's happening right now, why it's happening maybe, but not spoon feed you what's going on, right? So
Mm.
I want to go back to the fact that you're numb, right? And you have accepted that fact that no people around you don't care. But do you think that's right for people not to care about such a thing? And is it right? Do you think numbness
Mm.
is the solution? If there's ever a solution.
Honestly, of course, it's not right for people not to care. And
Mm,
the numbness is never a choice in the first place. It's a resolution that you resolve to in order not to lose your sanity. For me,
mm,
I became numb just because the fact that life keeps going on. So you have a choice to make. You can
mm,
be reactionary to every single thing, and that will
mm,
consume you and that will burn you eventually. Or you
mm.
can preserve some of your sanity by just numbing your sensation towards people don't care. Like it does not affect my intention to inform them because believe me, when someone comes across me or like whenever I come across someone and they would be like, oh, like what's happening in Sudan and like how are things now in Sudan? They give me that question. How are things now in Sudan?
Mhm.
Like I give them like a full course of information, like a quick rundown, because I know it's gonna annoy them that I'm bombarding them with this information, tragic numbers. But
Mm,
yeah, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable at least. That's my
mm,
retaliation for my numbness. So
mm.
I don't like the numbness when I said I feel numb because I don't want to go back home and think about it. I don't want to lay in my bed and think about, oh, people don't really care because that will burn me. Like
It will
I don't
stop
have
you.
enough
No.
stamina. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
I
the numbness comes from there.
I just wanted people to hear this because because I love what you say. It's not a choice. It is not a choice because
Yeah,
you see, the world keep moving.
yeah,
The pills will come at your door. Your bosses at work will want you to work, right?
yeah,
The world does not stop as much. You want it to stop. You do
yeah,
inside of you. You want the whole world to stop and see that your people are being killed. The women in your country are being raped.
yeah,
Um, you want them to see all these horrible things that is happening to your land and how it's unfair, right? And how
Yes.
it's all connected together. You think it's not, but it is. And you go silent today, you never know what's going to happen to you in your place one day, right? It is how it
Mm.
is. And you can go quiet. You can say, "I'll pray." Thank you for your prayers, of course. But
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want to say. But it is how it is in this is how life goes. It goes around. It comes to you, right? So um for us to function, we have to go numb. For Modathir to post his great post on IG, if he thought about everyone not caring, you won't be able to do that. You just at least have to have at least one audience to indicate, right?
Yeah.
That's what you told
It's
me
really
earlier.
that. It's really that. Exactly. And
Mhm.
it's just, I never thought of myself someone who would put their face on social media. Honestly. That was never a trajectory in my lifespan. However,
Mm,
I did it. And I did
mm.
it with a very silly plan. I like people, I never told this to anyone, so I'm just gonna say it to you. It's
Exclusive.
exclusive, yeah. I started talking about the war on my social media, hoping that someone with a bigger platform would see me talking about it. Because I
Mm,
had like 200 followers. Like I don't have that much. Hoping that someone with a bigger platform would see me like talking about that and they would take it. Because
mm,
I know how social media works. I know how people become influencers. I know how content creators get the inspiration from smaller content creators, and sometimes it's pure plagiarism. But
mm,
I thought about it as it's not content. Talking about the war in Sudan is not content. It's not my content. I'm
mm.
trying to get to spread the word. And if someone sees me talking about it, and I try to use humor, I try to make it light-hearted as much as I can, because and it gets traffic, like it gets views, it gets for someone who has 200 followers, get 10K views. That means the topic is needed by the consumers. So for
Mm,
the bigger platforms, would see that and they'll be like,
mhm,
oh, let me just take a script and refurbish it and put my sprinkle on it for someone who's bigger platform and talk about it. And for me, that's a win. I want people to know like
yeah.
that. So I'm trying to be that. Unfortunately, my plan did not work out. So my plan was like to make it known, to make it easy for people to understand. So the bigger platforms would take it and take it further. And then I don't have to have the burden of deliver the news.
Mm.
But it did not work out. So I continued to deliver the news, and now I became, as you said earlier, uh, a resource for some people. Although that words give me lots of like weight on my shoulders, it
I'm
honors me, but
sorry.
it's still it yeah, no it as I said, it honors me, but it's also a weight I carry, but it's not forced. It's not. I chose to do that. So yeah. So I will not like be like the victim here. So
No, but you're telling facts, which is
yeah.
something you really profound. You just say it is. I did not want to be the person delivering, right?
Yeah.
No one
Mm.
wants that, you know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want that. I don't do that. I know I cannot take it. And
Mm.
before we start recording, I told you this. I said, um, or right now, I don't remember. We talked a lot, so
We talked for an hour
it's
before this.
we talked for an hour before this. This is the first time we talked for an hour before this. So the thing is, I cannot carry that weight, and I have limits. I know myself. I cannot carry that weight. I listen to a video of you or Sarah BS on blast, and I curl on my bed. Sometimes I cry, and the whole day, everything on my
Yeah.
day, sometimes I do not submit my assignments. That's how it affects me. So I cannot imagine the heaviness of it on you, the person who is making the actual, who's actually talking to the people who do the resources, give you the facts, because
Yeah.
probably you have people who give you the information from ground there in Sudan. And
Yeah.
Sarah on 8 days, she shared a voice note, gosh, that ended with the person saying they wish they died on that day with the people who died. And I
Yeah.
just start crying. I just start
Yeah.
crying because I just, it's I just listening to it just I couldn't understand how can someone listen to this and ignore it, you know?
Yeah,
And all I can do is just share it on my story, hoping, just like you, that someone would see it that has a bigger platform and will reshare it again. That's all I can do. Um,
yeah.
and on my end, as someone who's somehow, I feel
At the
guilty.
end of the
Not
day,
gonna
it's
lie.
a stamina thing. Some of us have the stamina, some of us don't. And I think I've mentioned this earlier before we start recording, is that I see myself as someone who had the training somehow to do that.
Mm,
Because dealing with death, displacement, war, hearing people wishing they never saw that, they never been, like, is not new. Like, this is my childhood somehow. Although I was
mm,
not affected by the war directly, I was never displaced. However, I saw the IDP camps being built around my home. So I
mm,
was the host for displaced people in somehow. So I heard these stories before since I was 6 or 7. So it gave me the stamina to carry on. Like, so that's why I don't go into blaming people who don't speak about Sudan as much, because I don't see it for everyone. Like, not everyone can do this. Not even me. Like,
thank
I'm
you.
I'm doing this until the day I cannot do it anymore. This is my intention. I will keep doing it until I can't do it. So it's not like, because yeah, I got this. No. Yeah,
Mm,
and although this is very funny and sad, in my family, they tell me you're very good at delivering bad news. My family has been telling me that all the time. You're very good at delivering bad news. Like, if someone wants to deliver something really sad to someone, tell Modathir to do it. So,
aw,
but it's like, and I
the
carry doing, like,
burden,
okay,
the
it's not a,
responsibility.
it's not even a burden anymore. It's like, okay, I'll be your raven.
I'll do
It's
it.
completely fine. Yeah, until I
I think
cannot do
ravens are beautiful, so I don't know what to say.
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So cute.
So it's like,
Yeah.
so that's the point. The point is, like, we all have our own capacity to endure this. So, and it's not our job to make the world know. It's our job to,
Exist.
yeah, to exist, because as
Yeah.
part of this, of the people of this world, we're going through the same thing. So why do we have to be the one carrying the information thing? So yeah, I don't know that if that answers the question, or was
It
there a
does.
question either, but
It's fine. We're just having a conversation that's so good, in my opinion.
yeah,
But
it is.
you said a lot of things that I want to go into questions about it. But I do want to
Hmm.
stick to the lemon
To the
narrative,
narrative.
at least, to the narrative. So I want to ask you the main question, which is, and
Uh-huh.
then we go from there. Which is, if I'm writing a feature film about you, this is your first
Hmm.
scene, the opening scene. What would you tell me that scene is? Your audience wants to see it. This is your
Oh, I've
film.
been thinking about this a lot. I thought about this,
Okay.
and yeah, the only thing that has kept in my, like, the only image I've got in my head is me at 5 to 6 years old, like
Mm-hmm.
6 to 5 years old me, at home
Mm-hmm.
in Niala with my mom. May Allah rest her soul. Um,
I don't know.
and uh, she would be sitting on her sewing machine, and I'd be sitting on the ground,
Mm.
like, gathering this like this scraps of the fabric that she's been working on,
Okay. Mm.
and I used to arrange them into, like, with color and color grade, like I make like color grading of that. She would be humming something. She always hums this, unshuda or madih,
Mm.
that's my favorite. You may have heard it in my Eid post, when I was, like, saying it or singing it,
So please
somehow.
sing it now. I want to listen to it now. Can you do that, please?
Not you putting me on blast.
I will. I told you I will one day. So here we go.
Yeah,
We're gonna listen
I
to it.
it's a very long. I'm not gonna sing the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna sing the part that is stuck with my mom's voice in my head. It says, عليك صلاة الله ثم سلامه ألا يا رسول الله إني مرهم. So yeah, I'll stop here. Basically, it's about someone who's longing to visit uh,
Prophet.
a Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So
Yes.
yeah, that would be the opening scene. Me, my mom, her sewing machine, and she's humming this,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that at in my house in my hometown. Yeah.
You know, one of the places that I really want to visit is Niala. I'm not gonna lie. I
I
thought I have
really
time.
wish to host you in Niala someday.
Inshallah, بإذن الله تعالى.
Inshallah.
So it's just I thought I have time. And this is my biggest regret when I left Sudan in 2012. I still remember in the airport. I was just telling you about my best friend in med
Yeah.
school. She's from
Mm.
Niala. And I remember
Yeah.
I was traveling, and the same day she was going back to Niala because we had like our summer school time off.
Mm.
And she told, and it was like I was taking the airport. I was going to Abu Dhabi. I'm from Abu Dhabi here to Canada, but I
Yeah.
thought I'm coming back. Right? I didn't think I would stay in Canada till now. It's
Wow.
2024, y'all. I was
So
2012. So she was going to
so
Niala. Yeah, so 12 years,
12
right?
years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to Sudan in 12 years. And she came to me. She's like, "Hey, goodbye, blah blah. I'll see you probably in 2 3 months. So we'll talking." And I said, "I thought your plane is going." And she said, "Oh, domestic flights. It's got delayed."
Yeah. We
And we're
go
talking
from
about
yeah, Terminal 2.
Terminal 2, yeah? So
Yeah.
you know that or okay. So I was like thinking I will go back and one day I'll visit Niala.
Mm.
She had this love for Niala. And I everyone that I met from Niala just have this love for Niala. So I really wish now all I have is pictures. I really, really wish I visited. I wish to visit one day. And from Modathir, I usually ask people why
Mm.
they chose the scene, but what I'm getting
Yeah.
is longing, yearning to the land that you were born in, to your mother,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
a time that was so peaceful that all you cared about was arranging those scraps in color, you know, and listening to your mom
That's
voice
exactly
humming.
it. You hit the nail in the head, whatever the Americans say. Yeah, it's just my longing to that. And
Yeah.
because at that time it was before that full war started, before seeing or hearing airplanes and
Hmm.
before everything started going awful. And also it was a time at that I did not go to kindergarten when I was a child.
Oh, me
So
too.
at that year is yeah, that is specific year they tried to enroll me and I hated it and they were like, okay, just have another year at home. And that
Mm.
was my last year before going to school. I hated
Mm.
school my whole life. And so like that's the year I had the most memories because I in my head I wanted to preserve every single thing in that year,
Mm.
the age of 5 years old, going into 6. That was
Mm.
the time, and it's more the most peaceful time in my life as far so far.
Um, Peaceful.
Yeah,
And it's just this was before war, and all the questions I had before asking this, the main question for the 11
yeah.
narrative is how was Niyala before and after war, and when did, like how old were you and how did you receive it? And I want like some sort of imagery comparison. This is why I'm asking the question between
Mm,
you, the kid who was 5 6 years old, in this peaceful life. This is your home, this is your land, and then out of nowhere there are camps, people who are like talking about death. You can hear airplanes, like fights. You
mm,
hear like those horrible stories. um
mm.
how did it feel like going from this reality to that reality, right? I really want to have a feel of it for you.
As a kid, especially me myself, at home,
Mhm.
I was sheltered. I'm not gonna say here like I was exposed to all the ugliness of the world. I was not. I was
Mm,
sheltered and protected by my family, and I'm so grateful for that because it allowed me to preserve much more of the beauty of Niala. That's why I love Niala
mm,
so far, like so much.
mm,
But to answer your question, the image before the war, it's always around Fridays.
Mm.
Me with my 8 siblings. I have 8 siblings,
Inshallah. Tabarakallah. Yeah.
and I'm the youngest. So we will
The
be
baby.
preparing.
So cute.
Yeah, yeah. The thing
Good.
is, uh, we would on Fridays, and this is tradition for every resident of Niara. On
Mm.
Fridays, right after Asr prayers, everybody
Mm.
goes to Wadi or the valley. It's a valley that divides Niala into two halves, the
Mm.
south and the north, and everybody gathers there
Mm.
with their families, and we come with like tea, coffee, beverages. Some people will be celebrating an anniversary or a wedding. Some people are celebrating a birthday. Others, everything and anything you want to see, like like a community event or even like a private event for some families. It's there.
Mm.
So that was the beauty of Niala. We would walk because I live like a 20 minutes walk from the valley.
Al-Wadi.
And yeah, Al Wadi. And it's like for those who like the valley is just like a river, but runs in autumn or in the fall. And for the rest of
Mm.
the year, it's just a beach of sand beach, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so that was Niala. Everybody's there. You will hear the culture, the tribal dances, the people celebrating their heritage, the colors. And me and my sister, we had this challenge. We would count what like we would decide what the dominant color in the outfits were people wearing on that day. Okay, this is in the entire Niala citizens are
Yeah.
here. So today, like last Friday was a yellow, but this Friday it's green. People have
Mm.
like, and it was a thing because we could see it, like we could count
Yeah.
until we can't count anymore.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's just a celebration. Niala was a celebration before the war, and the diversity of Niala was also celebrated a lot. We would go to Wadi with our neighbors who are from Shimaliya, they were Shawaiga. So
Mm.
and the others were from Al Jazeera. So we would all go
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
to Wadi to sell, just to have a good time until Al Maghrib, and then we go back home. So it's like it's not
Mm.
even for a long time. It's the day from Al Asr prayer to Al Maghrib prayer, and we go back. It's like a window
Mm.
of 2 hours. But that
Mm-hmm.
was Niala. Those happy 2 hours was Niala before the war. In contrast, after the war, Niala was surrounded by IDP camps. Like after the war, Niala became the second most populated city in Sudan. And the main reason of that is that the displaced people who came to the city for refuge. So
Mm.
these are millions of people. Like it's not an easy number. So after
Yeah.
the war, I would say like 3 to 4 years later, when started to realize the war has really affected people. And yeah, I would see IDPs camps, lots
Mm-hmm.
of people who are like you would see there is a visual poverty, if that's the term, in the scene of Niala. There are
Mm-hmm.
lots of people in need, lots of people in dire need, honestly. And one of the important scenes as well, the NGOs that it, the diversity that we had of all Sudanese people, now it's even more like lots of people from everywhere in the world are coming as the NGOs staff. Whatever you can name, like a non-governmental organization, it's there. It's in my neighborhood, and now like I feel a stranger to this city that I love very much. So the contrast is that the celebration it's no longer there. Uh, yeah, that would be it was celebration, and it was not a celebration after the war.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I would have grieved this forever. Um, it's just sad that
Hmm.
governments and greed uh, destroy like that.
Yeah,
Such a
it does.
beautiful picture you painted for the celebration for Niala, for Al
Yeah,
Wadi. And then when you said visual poverty, that hit me because
yeah.
it's different, when the I didn't experience this in Sudan, I lived in Al Jazeera, Madani, and then
Yeah.
my other years were in Khartoum, Durman, for school. Um, I didn't see visual poverty in Sudan, and people when they used to say, "Oh, it's all war in Sudan," I used to say, "No, it's not," because I didn't experience it, and I didn't even know that much about Darfur. All I knew was about the war in the
South.
south,
Yeah.
right? Um, I do feel guilty about this, but um, was just like what's happening right now. It was neglected, right? I didn't know why we're differentiating between people coming from different, like those were the one of the questions that really were very profound in my brain to what's happening. Like, it's one country, why, what's going on? Is it a religion division? Which was not. For everyone
Yeah.
listening, we're both Sudanese. It was not a religion war, right? It was just greed. If you could, in my opinion, if there's
Mm.
one word to this, what's happening is greed,
It is
right?
greed. I don't even think of the wars in Sudan, every single war in Sudan. I don't think of it as something original. Like when I say
No.
original or organic, that's the term. Like it's not because there are profound differences between people and they come to a point where they have to clash. No,
Mm.
all of it is instigation. Someone is instigating something. Someone is stirring the pot.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it happens in the span of like months or weeks.
Mm.
Like it's not like, because people coexist for decades and now it's boom, we're fighting. That does not
People
make sense.
coexist everywhere.
Yeah, that like, for as I said, going back to Niala, Niala was a harmonious place. Like it's like, is that a word? Like we lived in harmony. That's
Yes.
what I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. two, two
yeah.
second languages here, just trying to find the right word. Go ahead.
Exactly. So yeah, we lived in harmony. We
Mhm.
coexisted happily together, and we didn't see our differences at all. And even after the war, we still the OG Niala citizens, is that a term I could use? We don't see
Mm.
the differences, but the moment you start looking at picture from like an outsider view, you would see why like, how did this happen? You can actually clearly see it. Someone is benefiting from this, and that
Yeah.
someone is still benefiting from this. So, but not everyone can actually see the picture. Not everyone is allowed to have that view. Not everyone is allowed, because like we spoke about this earlier, like the society and community molds us. Like they put us in this mold. They expect us to behave
Mm.
in a certain way.
Mm.
So these restrictions will not allow you to see from an observant point of view. And that's the only way to start like understanding each other, is to look as an observant, like to take yourself from the narrative,
I
look at it
understand. Yeah.
from like, yeah, and then you can actually engage in a very intentional way to correct situation. So
Yeah.
yeah, the wars in Sudan are not organic; they are just
Yeah.
instigated. Yeah,
Mhm. And people need to understand that, right?
yeah,
So,
mm,
and I think something you really mentioned was really profound is the word mold. And I think what's happening with Sudan is also the stereotype that these people look a certain way, they fight for certain. It's just another African country in crisis, in crisis, and that's the a narrative about Africa, countries in crisis, right? And
hmm,
no one has questioned it before. Why are these countries in crisis? They don't want to be in crisis. It's not their choice. This doesn't they didn't choose this. They didn't want to do this. It's happening to them
yeah,
because someone is benefiting from it, right? And the way I see it right now, when you look at, because the war is everywhere in Sudan right now, and like in my opinion, like, if
hmm,
it's
yeah,
not
it's
in an
everywhere.
area
You're
today,
correct.
if it's not
Mm,
an if it, in an area today, it will be there tomorrow, right? And that's the
mm,
biggest fear for you and I both, right?
of course.
And so um it's the fact that Niala was not enough, Darfur
Mhm.
was not enough for them. They
Yeah,
had to do more. The greed just went on and on. It was not enough. They divided the country into two, south and north. They were like, no, we have the South now, it's divided, we can do whatever. And then no, that's not enough. Therefore destruction is not enough, let's destroy it more. Some people want a civilian government, civil government, they're fighting, they understand, blah blah blah. So it just
Mm.
goes into more, and they make it more complicated for people to understand, but it's not complicated. It's not complicated, it's greed. Simple, it's
It's
greed.
really very simple.
It's very simple.
It's
It's
the
very simple.
simplest thing. And I was talking to someone from Congo. We were having in the DM, we were just
Mm,
venting honestly to each other
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because she watched one of my videos and she said, I feel like you have censored lots of things you wanted to say, but you did not say. So if you want to scream and shout, you can do it. I was like,
Yeah.
You're from Congo. You have been experiencing war for decades before for Sudan, and you're
Mm,
allowing me to vent for you. Venting to
mm,
someone is a burden you give them, you put
mm,
on them. So I was really appreciative, but I jumped on the opportunity. And then we started shouting, basically.
mm, mm.
So, and we came across the point where why the United Nations is moving to Kenya and they saying, uh, we are trying to be closer to the communities that we serve. It's like, why is Africa the
Target.
communities that we serve the most? It's because, well, you yourself as United Nations are benefiting from what's happening in Africa. Let's just address it. So when we hit that point, everything became clear. Like
Mm,
when we talked about that, it was not hard for me to understand the war in Congo or the genocide in Congo,
mm,
the genocide in Congo.
mm,
Or like I couldn't like it wasn't hard for me to see the difference between what's happening in the DRC and what's happening in Sudan, because at the end it's just the same thing and it's an instigated genocide and it's like it benefits someone and that's
mm,
why it's powered by greed. So
mhm.
yeah, all of that to say, greed is the actual cause of all of that, and it's way too simple than people think it is. Like
Totally.
the moment you hit like to go to like the moment you reach the top of the pyramid, you would realize, oh, so it's here.
Mm,
Yeah, it's really very simple. So uh, the numbers and the initiatives and the analysis and the monitoring and everything, the institutes and politics makes it seems like complicated, like it's scattered all over the place, but it's not. Because it has nothing to do with politics in the first place. It's just crisis that was created to make some people rich. It's as simple as that.
thank you.
Yeah.
My two triggers were, it's complicated, it's a civil war. No. These two, you say these two words to me, two phrases, I just go crazy on you. Cause it's what you just it's straightforward. You know what I mean? And with if you explain it to a 3-year-old, it's greed. Yeah. Don't be greedy, please. Stay where you
Exactly. It's
are.
greed.
Take use the resources you have. Stop stealing other people's resources. That's how it is. It is how it
It's
is.
really
As
very
simple as
simple.
that. As simple as that. You know what I mean? And it just drives me crazy that like
Mm.
some people. But again, we go to the numbness because it is what we have to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's hard for us, for all the listeners and watchers. It's hard for us to move from war because it lives inside us, right?
Yeah.
We cannot live a normal life and enjoy it. Even in the most amazing days in our life, there's a bitter feeling that we feel
Yeah.
here.
Mm.
It literally, it's here, right? It's here that
Yeah.
I shouldn't be having fun. I shouldn't be happy because someone else in my country is suffering in my land, right? And for
Mm.
everyone saying we made it, we're safe, we're not safe. We're not emotionally safe. If you think we are, we're not. We're not safe because we're being triggered all the time, right? We're carrying this burden all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Something simple, right? For example, I would think twice before changing my laptop because I think the money that I want to change for my laptop could be sent back home.
Exactly.
And that's how it's
Uh,
affecting us here. I
Yeah.
want to talk about
And
being the sole breeder, right? A
okay.
Sudani man. So go ahead. No, just talk. What your friend said, shout. Right? Because that's our reality. And you're a Sudanese man. So there's a heavy
Yeah.
burden on you, right?
And yeah, and in my case, the heavy burden hit suddenly.
Mm.
Like
Out of nowhere.
it has to be connected to why did I leave Sudan in the first place. A lot of people think that I'm outside Sudan right now since the war, but not the truth. I left Sudan in 2021, and yeah, and even the decision to leave Sudan was not hard to make at all.
No.
I tell people leaving my home country was the easiest decision I made, and it takes them into a frenzy immediately. And they don't understand that before the pandemic, I had this profound love for my country and my people. I never thought of myself as someone who's leaving Sudan for good or abandoning Sudan. It was never.
Mm.
It was never my thing. And especially during the revolution in 2018 and 2019, and even like after 2019, I had this profound love for the country. And I
You were
saw
at the
hope.
sit-in, right? You
Yeah,
went to
yeah,
the
I was
sit-in.
sitting. Yeah, the sit-in and all the marches before that, and even the union works after that, after the sit-in, and
Mm.
all of that. I felt motivated. I felt excited to be part of Sudan. I was in my most active era, if I would say, um, during 2019 and the 2020. But in 2021, I left Sudan, and it was the feeling of like, okay, this place hates me. Sudan does not love me anymore, so just move, Modathir, just leave. So I left.
Mm.
And it wasn't hard for me to decide that I leave because I didn't feel the connection. I felt like the love that I have for Sudan was not reciprocal. Like Sudan does not love me back, so just move.
Why?
So
What happened? Now I need Mudathir. Just don't
yeah, yeah, of
sugarcoat it.
course. No,
Tell
no, I'm
me
not
what
gonna sugarcoat
happened.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
in my head, I still want to answer your question about being a sole breeder, but I have to connect
Okay,
it to
so
this.
go ahead.
Well,
Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
So,
like yeah. So it's like being the sole breeder. Even after leaving Sudan, I was never responsible financially of anyone in Sudan because I'm the youngest of my siblings. They are
mm,
all have their established life, and
mm,
none of them lives outside Sudan. Everybody lives inside Sudan because this is their home. They have
doable.
m- most of them are married with their careers, with their kids, and this is their life. I was the
Mm,
one who got away at that
mm,
point. But
mm,
suddenly, most of my family or all of them are displaced people.
mm-hmm,
No jobs, no financial security. So now I'm the only one who they can rely on financially. And I remember I went to Mecca when I realized that when that hit me, and I said I was so grateful. Like, thank you God for putting me here. At least they have someone they rely on.
mm,
Imagine if I was in Sudan. Like,
mm.
imagine if I was with them, another displaced person.
Person. Yeah.
Who, like, my entire family, ما بنغترب. We don't leave
Mm,
Sudan. I'm the only one who did that. So, and I felt grateful, like, yes, is it a burden? Yes. It is a responsibility? Yes. But I'm grateful for it because if I wasn't here, I don't know. I really don't
we
know.
would have yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I embraced the being provider, being someone who provide, or uh, by the way, when you say soul breeder, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes,
Because for a
yes.
second I felt like my English is failing me. So yeah,
I hope it's the right term, everyone. If it's not, forgive us. We speak so
yeah.
many languages.
This is not my first language. Y'all should be grateful. Anyway,
Yes,
so
yes.
I was just joking. So yeah, I was so happy that I got to be in this position. I don't
Mm,
look at it as something as a burden. No, like I'm so grateful till today. I'm so grateful that I can provide something, and I can provide some sort of like when my family, when my sisters and brothers, they get connection or they find like a Wi-Fi somewhere, they always start send me like jokes or they're trolling me on my videos. Why do you look like that? What's that ugly sweater? Like they always do that as if
aw.
nothing is wrong. And I
Mm.
am grateful for that. For me, I believe like I am the window that they can be themselves. Like just for even for seconds or for a text.
Mm.
They don't be like people who live in an RSF controlled place or who are displaced or who are like no, they just can be my siblings. And I'm so also grateful for I can provide that in some sort of sense, not just the financial thing. Because yeah. But answering your question when you asked me to elaborate about why did I leave Sudan or felt like
Mm.
Sudan does not love me anymore, huge part of that was COVID because my mom passed away during COVID. But
Sorry.
also another part is that I think it's I started looking at all the change, the sacrifice that we had in the revolution, in the sit-in, and the hard work that all Sudanese people have done is not being honored and it's being wasted. And I started noticing people are shifting back to where it was before, even for more extreme measures. And I was like, maybe the hope that I had was a false hope. And I started feeling suffocated in Sudan, walking around Khartoum. Because at that time I was living in Khartoum and I was working in Khartoum. And,
Mm.
and I was like working on so many projects that had lots to do with development and building like communities, unions, trying to get into politics more to understand because at the end of the day, the political is personal and everything is connected to that. Like, don't be just like another person in the land of Sudan and you don't know what's going on. I try to educate myself. I try to get involved more. And the more I know, the more ugly it gets. And then it hit me like, maybe you're not the one meant for it.
Mm.
Modathir, because you're passionate about this land, but the more you get into it, you feel like this land does not love you. Like you know, like the first time I felt like, let me give you an example. When it hits me that I am privileged somehow because I was born male in Sudan, that's a huge privilege. And then I was
Whew.
I I got to be from Darfur. I got to be born in Darfur, but ancestrally I am from Kurdistan because that's where my family is. And so, but we were living in Darfur, and but I was being from Darfur, but never was never displaced from my place due to the war.
Mm.
Like my ancestors, my tribe is not involved in the war, so I got a breeze of that. Like I didn't need to mourn my personal or my immediate people in the war. Then I got to have education in Khartoum. Not everybody has that. I got to have my education. I got to fit into the community of Khartoum easily. I felt like an outsider for some minute in some occasions, but I was not, the outsider like that sense. I got to
Mm.
fit with Khartoum kids very easily. I got to embrace the culture. And so lots of things. I graduated college. I got a job immediately and it was a good paying job. Like I had lots of privileges. Understanding that to see how many people that don't have that. Like someone could be in the same timeline, but she was born as a girl and everything went like in a huge different direction. It hits me like, there's so much to be fixed here. There's so much to be dealt with. And seeing how everything is going on with the politics of the new government, with the military just like suffocating everyone, like hanging on to power so hard, I feel like maybe I was not built for this. Maybe I'm not built for it. Maybe I don't have the bone to endure it. So leave, just leave. So, and I left. And the moment I left, after 1 year outside Sudan, it's like, oh no, I really love Sudan more than I thought I loved Sudan. I really love that place more than I thought. And yeah, it hit me like, okay, so now I understand why people write these songs about Al Ghurba and blah, blah, blah. Because I mean, Sudan is such a cliche, like, like, making
Just
it a
come
big
back.
deal. Yeah, it's a 1 hour flight. It's a 1 hour flight. Like, what are you talking about? But it's like, yeah. So it hit me like, how do you see it? And yeah, so leaving Sudan was not like something I did it I did it as a decision more than like something was forced on me or something like that. I decided to leave. And then I fell back in love with Sudan again the moment I
Mm.
left. Mm.
Well, this connection between us here.
Yeah.
I was telling Rua yesterday, and not just Rua, a close friend of mine, right?
Mm.
I have a love-hate relationship with Sudan all my life.
Same.
It's such a toxic relationship, you guys. You have no idea. Um, the land itself is beautiful. Sudan itself is beautiful. Sudani people are beautiful.
Yeah.
But the mold that the society has been put in, how the politics work, how the Sudanese people are following a current that's made for them to follow, and not
Mm.
everyone is conscious about it, right? The inner, the leftovers of colonialism, the inner racism, the colorism, right? All of this makes it a very toxic place to live in if you are aware.
Mm.
That if you're
Yeah.
following the trend, if you're part of what's happening, you're part of it. If your eyes are closed, then your eyes are closed, right?
Yeah.
If you love it so much that you are okay with being tortured emotionally and and just rationally, it just hit
Yeah.
hard for you if you're if you're in tune with your body, your intuition, and everything whatsoever. It's very hard when you
Yes.
hit the reality that you were talking about, when you realize you're privileged and you realize, oh wow, that's how I feel as a privileged person. How about other people, right?
Mm.
It's hard. And I told my friend, I told Rua, the people who were displaced from Sudan and the people who decided by the like it was their decision to leave, right?
Mm.
The only difference between these two is time and awareness,
Yeah. That's completely
because
true.
you can see it happening. You see it coming. Do you want it to come? No. You cling into this harsh hope that a miracle would happen and things will get
Yeah.
better. And you keep clinging into that, and you cannot, it's such a suffocating feeling,
Mm.
right? And it touches everything in your life. It touches your education, your personal relationships, your family, the way you live, the way you eat, the way you travel, the way you take the transit, right? Because the
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
transportation were not safe for women. I never took public transportation in Sudan, right? And it's with Sudanese within themselves, right? If you, as a
Yeah.
woman, just spoke about something that's happening, you'll be the one who's at wrong, right? And it's very hard to feel safe, even in my days. And that was like 2010, 12, right? Because I lived end of 12, May 12.
Yeah.
So it's just, I saw all of this. I saw all of this. I saw the violence, the passive aggressiveness towards me as a woman, the passive aggressiveness within the women community themselves, the passive
Mm.
aggressiveness between tribes, right? The people who thought they're better because of their color or their, I'm just gonna say it,
Ooh.
their nose shape, right? Their tribe, where they
The
were
hair
living, how much
texture.
money. There, oh gosh, don't get me started on hair texture. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Hair texture is a huge trigger for me, right? Because I was the one with sort of afro hair texture in my family, so I was the one who was like, "Oh, we wish your hair was beautiful." What do you mean? My hair is beautiful. I don't want to
The
curse.
thing is,
Like,
can I tell you a quick story
yes,
about the
please.
first
Yes,
time I was in Khartoum and
please.
the first time I realized that I was not a Khartoum born.
Yeah.
The way my Sudani dialect is the, what like the white dialect is called Lahja Bayda. You know, like the
Yeah.
same dialect of Khartoum people. I don't have
Yeah.
like a twang or something in my tongue that would tell you where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sitting in a public transportation at 17 years old
Mm.
with my registration papers from Leiden University like on my lap. And I was sleepy because like it's
All
like
the things you've
moving
done.
around in Khartoum is exhausting. So I was like
It's too
sleepy a
much.
little bit and it was a very hot day. So it was like at noon. An old guy sitting next to me and he was like started talking to me and I out of being polite I was like talking back. And we had like a very conversation about like I don't know about the weather, about how it's hot and how it's burning.
Yeah.
And And then he glanced at my papers, and it shows I'm coming from South Darfur State, Niala, because
Mm.
my admission to university itself was through South Darfur State. It was like a scholarship.
Yeah.
So, so it's like, and he was like, oh, so you're Gharrabi, like, as you're from Darfur. I was like, yes.
Mm.
And he was like, but you don't talk like them. I was like, huh? This is how everybody talks in my neighborhood. I never thought that I was supposed to have a dialect in my head.
No, you
And
didn't.
he was like, and he thought this was a compliment. He thought he was
Mm.
complimenting me
Of
by
course, yeah.
how revised my speaking pattern was.
Mm.
And I felt insulted
Of
because
course.
at the end of the day, so are you saying because I don't have any hints of like I speak another language or tribal language, that means I'm
They call
better?
Rutana. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And I hate that term, Rotana. It's
Of
like,
course, of course. Yeah, it's offensive. I'm just giving
yeah,
people. Here's the thing. This is
yeah,
documentation. They need to know the words
exactly.
so they avoid them.
So, so you're not Ratani as in his words. And I was like, huh? How
So,
do you see this as an insult? And how do you
mhm.
see me not being Ratani in his terms as an upgrade? I was like, I wish if I've fallen asleep before you start talking to me. I wish. I wish
Yeah,
if I've fallen asleep in this damn bus before you start talking to me. So this is just to tell you how
yeah.
privileges can
Mm.
work. Like how it's, I don't even what to, this is not classism. This it's not, it's beyond even colorism or hair texture or
It's
even
rooted.
like it's
It's
rooted
rooted.
deep down. Like because yeah.
Yeah. I always thought speaking a tribal language is an upgrade because it's sad that
I
I only
envy
speak
people who
Arabic.
speak.
Me too.
I
I
envy
like
them. Yeah.
I envy. Like I remember when I was in elementary school in Sudan, there's this group of girls who are like all related together, and they used to use their language, and I thought, wow, And I used to read like those books like Regular Mustahil.
Mm.
I don't know if you've read them. It's like
No, I
and
haven't.
okay, so it's all
But
about
I've seen they're very popular. I've seen them everywhere spread like, you know.
Yeah, it's like James Bond, but Middle Eastern. Okay, so
Hmm.
I'm always living that life, and I'm like, they have a secret language. I was like, what? I was like five, like how old? It was 9, something like that. I was like so fascinated, and because I wasn't in my family, no one told me there's another language in Sudan, so I didn't know. So I thought they came
No.
up with their own language, right? Until I realized
Oh,
that we had like, yeah, that's you don't understand my imagination. That's why I'm a screenwriter. Give me a
you would have
thread.
enjoyed public transportation in Sudan with your imagination.
Yeah, I took it a couple of times. It wasn't when a guy sat next to me and offered to pay my ride, I was like, no, don't. And he was like, why would you? Why are you being so hard? I was like, what do I'm not being difficult. Why are you being difficult? I was like, I don't want you to pay my fare. How's that difficult? What do you find difficult as? You know what I mean? Like he was like, it's not a big
Yeah,
deal. It is for me. This is my boundaries.
it is a big deal actually. How
Don't be difficult. I was like, what are you talking about? What is what's happening
oh,
in your brain?
wow.
So I was like, you know what? I'll just pay the extra fare for a private ride. So even in the private ride, the driver will talk to you. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. This is how it is. Sudan is functioning. It's very, very annoying. So
Yeah.
what was I saying? Yeah, I thought it's a different language until
Mm.
like later on I realized because my grandmother is from Dongola, so
She
um
have her own language.
she's supposed to, but she doesn't know it. That's what I asked my mom one day. I said, why don't you speak a different language? Because I met someone who's from Dongola as well, who married my mom's cousin, and he has he has the accent in which he would call the
Oh, I
how
can. Yeah, yeah,
there's a
yeah.
gender, and he would call me as a male. He would talk to me as a male, and I have no idea what's happening. I was very young, and then I asked, and they said they have a different language, and I was like, oh, and then why don't we have it? It's the same place. You're coming from Dongola too, you know?
Yeah.
But they were was he Shaigi? No, he was not Shaigi. I don't think Shawaiga has. I forgot the tribes. Oh my goodness. But anyways, you guys, you
It's
will
fine.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. So I don't actually forget them, but I'm in the pressure of the recording. That's why. So
Yeah.
like I was like, what's happening here? And he had like the accent. You were the Ratani, what they call Ratani,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Mm.
And then this is when I found, and then I asked questions, of course. And my mom was like, well, we're city girls. We don't talk like that. Again, an
Yeah.
upgrade, right? So that's how it is. And if you look at it, and I want people who watch this across the world to understand, this is classic case of when a colonizer comes and strip the native people from their language,
Yeah.
and it was forbidden, like when the Arab colonized the
Yeah.
area. It wasn't, of course it's an honor to speak Arabic, to read Quran, and I'm very
Yeah.
privileged and lucky, and I love the language very much, but I would
Yeah.
really love to have some roots related to the land I am in. And I know my dad's side of the family, and is and my mom as well relates to, like, I have a lot of Arab
Mm.
blood in my blood, right? But I'm still Afro-Arab. I still wanted to know some of my tribal languages, right? I still wanted to
Yeah.
know my roots and be connected to the land. And that's exactly what happened to indigenous and native people here in North
Yeah.
America, where they were not allowed to speak their languages. Some of them
Mm.
preserve it, some of them couldn't, and they cannot speak it, and they lost the opportunity. So that's what happened in Sudan as well, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
the issue with that, the Sudani people became ashamed of that language, to the
Yeah.
people where they affirmed or like made sure the colonizer system goes for generations, to the point where
Yeah.
someone like me, I'm 34 years old, well, next month, I was born in 1990. I did not know that we have so many languages in Sudan until a linguistic told me, well, before separation we had over 300 languages. So I'm like, what a
Yeah.
waste, what a waste,
What
right?
a
What we could
waste.
have learned,
Yeah.
what we could have learned the what before, like the history um is really neglected, just like Sudan is a country. And if you looked at this from a very wide perspective, there's a reason for all of that, right? There is a
Yeah.
reason why our hair texture is being hated on, our features, right?
Yeah.
Languages.
And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no. Like, I was just affirming what you said. Like yeah.
Yeah.
And even
So
our history is buried. Just a quick point to that. I was listening to recordings by Ghassan Ali. He's I'm sure you've came across one of his videos when he in the podcast Tamania when he was talking about Sudan and stuff like that.
mhm,
I've been a huge fan of him since his TV show called Al Warraq. It has like 6 seasons in
mhm,
Sudani 24. And I
mhm,
was just listening to his recordings regarding Qawmiya Sudani or the Sudani nationalism and how
mhm.
did that became a thing. And he mentioned all the historical kingdoms, like everything
Yeah.
before colonialism, like even before the Arabization of Sudan,
Mm.
before the Turks, before the English, before everything.
Yeah.
And although I know like a decent amount about that, but every time it hits me like this history is buried
Mm.
intentionally.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Intentionally is buried. Like the Blue Sultanate, Sultanate Darqa, was a coalition of tribes, many tribes that came to agree on actually on trade basis. The only thing that brought them together, the trade, the market. They made a sultanate out of it or a kingdom.
Mm.
So they had a way to manage the differences, the diversity. They had a way. It wasn't hard. It wasn't not doable, but it's the least talked about. It's the least taught. Like nobody teaches. They give you the headline in the history books. نحن العالم المعاصر. نحن the curriculum of
Yeah.
Sudan school curriculum, but they
It's a joke.
don't teach you the essence of it. They don't teach you the essence of it. And it just hit me like it's buried intentionally. That's why they don't want us to know our history because they don't want us to replicate it. They don't want us to be inspired by it. They don't want us to preserve the languages, the understanding, the vision. They don't want us. They don't want us to do that. And this colonialism for everybody.
Here's the thing. What this say is that we did it before. And they want us to believe that we cannot do it. As simple as that. Right?
Exactly.
And this is sad, right? Because people don't know that we did it before. And
Lots of us.
They don't know.
The issue is
They're
when
not
you say people, I mean Sudanese people. It makes my blood boil.
That's what we mean. Yeah, everyone was watching. When we say people, we mean Sudani people, because like we are a little bit angry at our own people. It's the fact. There's some some anger inside of us.
It's a love-hate, if y'all remember.
It's a love-hate relationship. It's a love-hate relationship. Like, we cannot lie. It's very evident. It is the fact that we've been put into the stereotype about ourselves. We have been taught to self-hate. Right?
Yeah.
We've been taught that this country won't serve us. We have to leave it to survive, right?
Yes.
Like what I said before, every Sudani family has someone abroad who's providing for the family, because a core belief in the Sudani community that those are the people who, like, if you're gonna benefit, if you're gonna get money, is to travel away from Sudan. Sudan would not give you money, and that's not true, because the land has a lot to give. Right? But we were taught at a younger age, you need to leave. The people who live abroad are the prestigious people, right? Like, for example, when I say things like, I was born in Russia, Moscow, they're like, wow. I was like, what's wow about this? Okay, never understood where's the wow? Where's the wow?
Yeah.
You know? And like, but it is engraved in people's minds. And that's very dangerous, because why? Because they do not know their history. They were not taught their history. Hence, they think they are born unfortunate. They're not.
Yeah.
They were never unfortunate. They just were taught that and chose to be.
Yeah, colonialism would just teach you, like, you were born into you were born into the land of potentials, but there is no prosperity for you. Leave. That's what they tell us.
So they can come and take it away.
Yeah.
They need you out. They want you out. And that's what I realized when I came here to Canada. I was like, oh, I could have done everything I did here back home, right?
Yeah.
But again, when you're back home, when you're in Sudan, you're faced with all of these, like, I don't know to call them obstacles. It's a very hard battle, and you're not. It's really hard. I don't know what to say. As a woman,
it's tough out there, guys. It's really tough.
It's tough. As a woman, you question things, and you're being told you're misbehaving, you're loud, you need to be quiet. This is not your place to say it.
You refuse to be paid for, and you're difficult.
Yeah. Every time I remember this. Thank you. That's like a clear example of, like, I was so confused. You're sitting beside me. I don't know who you are. It's the £1 fare, right? Yeah, like, if you saved me from the unknown, I'll understand. But it's £1 fare. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why are you paying it for me? It's like,
and
why
you
are you
said
being
no.
difficult?
That makes you difficult immediately.
Yes. Like, I was just labeled difficult all the time, you guys, all the time. I didn't know I'm not difficult. It was a discovery for me to know that I'm not a difficult person. You know, because even the guy beside me in the transit said I'm difficult, so I must be difficult. You know, and that's how, if this is a very good example of how things are working. You know what I mean? You've been named names, you've been called names, you've been put into place, right? And I remember, well, like almost Sudani family, we had like a house manager who's, what's the word? I don't want to mention the other word. It's what they call house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna go because
house manager. House. I was gonna say housekeeper. I was gonna say like something with it.
Yeah. So she's from the south, and I spend a lot of time with her, and she would say Dawud Arab. Okay, and I never, which is a son of an Arab. For like, for example, a guy in Medani, and I never understood what does that mean, because he's Sudani. I never understood what that means. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, I was affirming.
Yeah.
Teresa, may she be happy wherever she is. She said the same thing, but she would say Jana Arab. So like,
Mm, yeah.
yeah. So
Gonna
like,
add
I
up.
was like, yeah, it's like, so like, hmm, and what like, oh,
So confusing. Do you see? But did the reaction, my reaction? I was like so confused. All
it's
these
like
terms
what?
growing up, and no one explains why. Okay, here's the experience. No one explains why this division. Why do they exist? Why is this
Mhm.
Janara? Why is this? Why is this?
Mhm.
Why like you were called Gharabi? Why this was that? And you're like, why do
Yeah.
I need to follow all of this? And the moment you question it, it's like everyone looks at you because you're questioning the pattern and everyone's following it and you just question it and everyone's like, what's wrong with you? You must be crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy. You are. You're following things that are not true. Right?
I
And it
don't
just
see a
keeps.
difference at all. And it's not in the same way like Americans that say I don't see color. No. But I mean, I see myself represented in Sudan in so many
Yes.
ways. Like I never had this issue. Like I didn't, I never had a representation. I never seen myself, someone like me doing. No, I've seen it because
Mm,
every single Sudani person, I see myself in them. It was never like these are this is someone who's different.
yeah.
I, I never knew the difference until someone told me, like, oh no, you're different. I was like, huh? And it was actually the vice president of Nilan University
Mm.
when he
I want
denied
to,
me my
yeah.
scholarship and he wanted me to pay $2,000 per year
Dollars, in dollars, you guys, in
in
dollars, not in
dollars. Yeah,
pounds.
he said in dollars.
Yeah,
I was like, sir,
yeah.
I got accepted here via scholarship.
Mm.
Who are you asking for dollars? He said, no, scholarship is not for you. I was like, then for who? And who are
Mm-hmm.
you to decide? You're just the vice president of the university. You're not even, because for those who don't know, we get accepted to university via the higher education, what do you call it?
The
تعليم العالي.
ministry. Yeah.
The ministry.
The
The
ministry of
ministry
the higher
will,
education, yeah.
yeah, you don't get acceptance
Distributed.
from the college or the university itself. So
Yeah.
they have no say in denying you your opportunity. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was a long conversation with him and he was racist, just let's say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, and then he made sure that I was different. He made sure that I was different. And being me, like a 17 years old kid who's very angry,
Mm.
I was like, do you think I can't make it here on my own merit? Like, I get the degree that could give me accepted here. I don't need the scholarship.
Mm.
One way or another, I'm not paying you any dollar. Like, not paying you a
Yeah.
penny. That's it. So, and I had a heated conversation with, I got escorted out of the of the office.
I'm so proud of you. I'm just
And then he
proud.
hit me. I went home and I was like talking to my mom on the phone and she was like, you see, I told you someone's gonna tell you that you're different. Someone's gonna tell you
Mm.
that you don't belong. Someone's gonna tell you that. But you need to be reminded. We had this conversation before. She was like, we had this conversation before. I was like, yeah, I never thought it's gonna manifest so quickly. Like I landed here last night.
It happened too soon, Mama. It happened too
Yeah,
soon.
like yeah. Yesterday I had breakfast with you in Niala and now I'm here in Khartoum. So like in the span of 24 hours, I'm different. Like
It's the same
give
country.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, but okay, so let's talk about that, right? Because
Okay.
okay, so I was called because for everyone, I studied my high school in Abu Dhabi. Then I came back and I was called what's called Shahada Arabiya, which Arab. I don't know how to do. Who it's
Arabic
called? It's
certificate.
yeah, yes. So whoever is like studying their whole life somewhere not in Sudan, then they come and they're not familiar with the traditions and a lot of things. I had a friend who asked me if someone is from Darfur, and I said, "What? How do I know?"
Hmm.
I didn't, because I was dealing with people. No, she wasn't. The person was not from Darfur. She asked if they're from the south, and she was a friend of ours. And I said, I don't. How do you know? Because I all I see is Sudani people, right? Different colors, different shapes, etc. You know what I mean? For me, it's like tall, short. you know what I mean? Dark skin, not
Yeah,
dark skin. All of this is all I see. She's like, no, we were taught
exactly.
how to. Weren't you taught? I was like, why would you be taught that? You know what I mean? Like, it was such a culture. I had a culture shock in my country, you guys. So I want to talk about that with you, with someone who's experienced it. And the reason I'm asking this is because it's really important for you to tell your experience in that matter, right?
Yeah,
Because it's just, I think it's important to document this for people to move on from it. And I don't think we'll be overcoming war, we'll be overcoming and build Sudan again. Is it going to be built in our lifetime? I don't know. Maybe 20,
mm,
25, 30 years from now someone will be listening to this and realize, oh hey, this is, we have done this, we've moved on from these differences and from
yeah,
these categories that we were put in, right, and we decided to adopt, right?
yes,
So as someone who grew up in a some sort, in a harmony, not some sort of harmony, it was a harmony land,
mm,
right?
mm,
Everyone was in harmony, and then you come to Khartoum and there's those labels and categories, and we are put into one.
mm.
And I know, because I was put into one when I came here, when I was in UAE, when I was in Sudan. It's just, for them, you shouldn't have the audacity to challenge that, right? So how was that
Yeah.
experience? And I also want to tie it to our talk about University of Khartoum in our DMs, right? So I think it's
Oh my
connected. So
God.
so let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. Go ahead.
Okay,
Take the mic.
okay.
Yeah.
Coming to the Khartoum for university, for us, عيال أقاليم, people who are outside of Khartoum, it's
I'm
a
too, yeah.
journey, it's an experience, it's something,
Mm.
it's an event.
Hmm.
I really had a farewell event in my neighborhood when I was leaving. Like,
Yeah.
it was for me and every single kid who was accepted to university in Khartoum, they had a farewell event. So it was
Mm.
like an entire evening, an entire program, or some sort like that. So we came
Mm.
with this big like idea that,
Yes.
oh, so we're going to Khartoum, we're going to Khartoum. And then I had the talk with my mom at
Mm.
home. She was like, okay, now you're gonna move. You're gonna go to
Mhm.
Khartoum. And it wasn't my first time to Khartoum. Like I used to come to Khartoum in summers, most of the time. And I had my eldest brother who lives and he's married and his house is in Khartoum. So I wasn't
Mm.
new to Khartoum, but this is my first time coming alone and that I'm gonna move around in Khartoum by
Living.
myself. I'm not gonna be accompanied by my family. She was like, they're gonna tell you you're different. You might hear some slurs. You might you might like someone might instigate something to put you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
People will try to get you under your skin. And she told me like, not everyone, but expect this. Like, not everyone's gonna be that. So you don't like. I'm not fear mongering you, if that's the term.
Mm.
So, and I was like, yeah. I came to Khartoum and I was in the process of registering into the uni and to get my card, and this is where I experienced the racism. It was never among my colleagues. It was never among let's say other kids from other universities. It was never like that. At the end of the day, we are
Mm.
all of the same age. We all have the same pop culture. We all speak the same
Probably
language.
confused
So
as hell, like you.
we are all confused and we are all
Yeah.
deemed adults suddenly. Like I was
Out
not
of
allowed
nowhere.
to have, yeah, I was not allowed to have soda 2 weeks ago, and now I'm
Yeah, no.
responsible to stay outside the house and how much long I want, and now I have to go into the dorm, and now I have to decide which subject I should take. Like this is just a lot. So
Yeah.
going through those like people who work in offices, the white top and
Mm.
the imma with their
Mm.
mentalities, and they'll be like, the first thing I remembered, we were three. Two of them are my classmates from high school. Got
Mm.
accepted to University of Nilan University. They both got accepted to School of Medicine, but I got accepted into
Mm.
School of Optometry and Visual Science. So we were registering together. At the end of the day, it's a headquarters. So I remember this employee, and she held the paper like this. It's a sheet with our names. It has 22 names from the entire Darfur 5 states. 22 people were accepted into the School of Medicine, and and optometry in an university. And she said, 22 from Darfur? That's too much. Who approved this? Who did the green light for this? She was outraged. And she was not even, she didn't have the etiquette to hide it from us. No, she was like really going to a tantrum in front of us. The 22 people who were actually she's talking about. And
I'm laughing,
I
but
remember I had this pose when you put, like this, like I was like,
what?
yeah, are you serious? Because I was in fight mood immediately. And my
Yeah.
other two classmates who are actually my best friends, they were holding me back. Do not say it. Do not say it. Do not say it. So that was the first interaction that she was outraged that we got accepted.
Yeah.
And it hit me. But going to the school itself, going to dealing with my doctors, dealing with my professors and all of that, I didn't experience much of like discrimination. No, I would not sit here and say like, yeah, every day was so good. It wasn't. But these small instances can actually have like, they make a dent or indentation effect
Yeah.
in your,
It's
in your heart.
microaggression. Yeah.
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 And so, and I was lucky that I got the training for this. Once again, like my family did like for me a terrific job, or like terrific. Terrific is a bad thing
Terrific. No, terrific is
or
a
a
good
good thing.
thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good
They
thing.
did a good job. They did a good job. Take it simple. They did a good job preparing me for this. They were
Yeah.
like, you're gonna, like, they gave me all the possible scenarios.
Yeah.
And I was still, I had this. So to answer your question, I noticed that I ramble a lot. To answer your
It's
question
okay.
around the, how did I experience that experience of, going to university and Milan University and Khartoum University and seeing, I saw how students from Darfur and other areas like Kordofan, how they get grouped. They just stick together. You know, they have this like unions, small unions inside the university. They stick together and they live in these closed circles. As a sort of, it's like they try to protect themselves because in the farewell event that we've got, we were told not everyone is going to welcome you. So be nice to each other at least, like when you go there. So, but some people would take it to extremes, and others would take it to some sort of like showing the culture, showing where we are from, showing like they even have these posters of their like villages and cities and places they grew up with. They get like they make introductions, and that was good because people get to know you, people get to get closer to you. And so, and I saw that me being a city kid, at the end of the day, I am not coming from a small village with everyone is my cousin. No,
Yeah. No.
because that's it. Because that's somewhere near Ubayd in Kordofan, and when I go there, I'm a stranger as well. So, so I did not have that. I was like just another city kid. So I belonged more to Khartoum kids. So I was vibing with the kids of Khartoum and Umdurman and, and those
Yeah.
from Medellin. And then I got my social circle, and I was fortunate for that as well. I got a very good experience. But when we go to universities, like in events like Usbu' Thaqafi, the cultural week, we see, ooh, so you think you're better than me. You get that all the time. Like, oh, نحن سيادة بلدي. No, nobody's سيادة بلدي. Calm down. Like, we are the owner
Yeah.
of this land, but nobody's the owner of this land. We are all here. You get that.
I
And
mean,
I used to,
genetically, you have more
yeah,
blood than us. You know what I mean? If you're
yeah.
thinking of me from Jazeera and you're from, you have more African blood in you, right? So you're more
And,
into, in my opinion,
but, and
more
I wasn't thinking
indigenous.
about that at the end of it. I wasn't thinking about that.
No, you weren't. But
Yeah, yeah. And my criticism, the thing that made me like, the questions that I had is like, I hated, the regular comedy, this, that when they go like, I don't want to mention tribes because I'll be adding more to that, but
I
when they
know what you're
describe
talking
one
about,
tribe,
the
yeah,
stand-up comedians, and then
the stand-up
they
comedians.
the stand-up comedians will come up with a joke regarding a specific tribe, and then they will
Yeah.
carry it for so many years. Like, for example, my last name is Al, which means someone who's coming from a village and very naive, right?
Yeah.
And I
And I know
remember
the
when
exact joke that they had around the name Alawat.
yeah, the name Al, right? It's just
Yeah.
a name. Like, I'm not, you guys, it's just a name, right? It's not even a
Yeah.
tribe. It's a name, and it has
Yeah.
like this joke that was carried to the day that I live in. And I remember when people asked me about my full name, because in Sudan we don't go family name, we go full name
Full
till
name.
the
Yeah.
fifth or sixth. Yeah, so I used to skip the name Al when I say my name because I
Yeah.
was
I get
ashamed of it. You get that, right?
my,
You get
yeah,
that.
my friend, her last name was Al-Awad as well.
She
And she
probably
was
proud.
very, yeah, and she would be like, yeah, she would just say her name and her father's name
Yeah.
because her grandfather's name is Alawat. So she's not reaching that. She'll be
No.
like, this is my name. So I understand. And my criticism was for like, why this is funny, why this is deemed as a joke, why everyone is accepting this. This is not
Mm.
funny. And I cannot silence myself. I vocalize my thoughts. That gets me in trouble most of the time.
Yeah,
But I'd be
outcasted.
like,
Yeah, we outcasted.
yeah, people would laugh on the joke, and I'd be like, why are you laughing? Like,
It's not a good joke.
I can say the comedian is ignorant, but why are you laughing? Because I know you. You're my friend. I know you. I know you're far intelligent than that. I know you have a
Mm.
higher sense of humor than that. Like, we can come up
Mm.
with different jokes. It's really easy. Like, we can be funny, but not this. This is not funny. But, and then people started deeming me as difficult because I did not see the jokes. That was, that was
You didn't
the,
let them pay the fare.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's because I didn't accept the humor. So,
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
this, to wrap it up, my experience going to Khartoum, enduring the differences and the being subject to that was, for me, I always looked at it from point of an observer,
Mm.
not, I never submit to being victim for it. Never.
Mm. No, you're not.
It's,
You're not a
yeah,
victim.
because like for me, I understand how the system works in my head. I was like, I know how this works. So I'm
Mm.
gonna challenge it, but I'm not gonna be like, it's not gonna affect me. I'm just gonna challenge it just to make y'all uncomfortable, just for that, for the cause of making everybody uncomfortable, because that's
Exactly. And
another, yeah.
yeah. And you know, stand-up comedians in jokes are part of the system.
Yeah.
Those jokes were intentional. And that's something I think here's the thing. I realized that Sudan has gone through a lot of
Mhm.
molding, and politicians and a lot of rules and a lot of colonialism, and so
Mm.
many factors are in there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, none of us is a victim. All of us could have seen what's happening and changed something, a small thing, like you, for example, choosing not to laugh at the joke.
Yeah.
Right? You could have chosen that. Someone else would be like, yeah, right, Modathir, it's not a funny joke, right? So
Exactly.
that's what it is. Something really important, really small could have changed the whole narrative of the country if each one of us took responsibility to change it, right? If someone at the office, when that lady said 22 kids are coming from Darfur, right? When someone, if someone at the same office, and my memory of these offices is that it had a couple, like it's a big office, and then
Yeah.
it had a
It's
couple of
like
desks.
minimally eight desks there.
Eight governmental officials are there, and one of them is talking, and probably all of them were like just either looking or minding their own business. And you shouldn't mind your own business. If one of them were like, why would you deem them not deserving? Or why would you say 22? Like, it should be more kids coming from Darfur, if anything. Why would a
Yeah.
big estate like Darfur has only 22 kids accepted in 1 year? That would be my question. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That we're like only 17, 20, 20, 22 kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I refuse to believe it. They're more than this. And I would
Yeah.
ask, what about the kids who are in the camps? They're not getting educated? Maybe we should bring them to Khartoum. You know, maybe we should send them to Medani. There are places that were
Yeah.
livable for those people to
Yeah.
go and live in actual houses and own lands and live like
Yeah.
better life. Sudan is a big country. To have camps within Sudan is ridiculous. because all these people would have
Exactly.
gone into another place in Sudan, live with dignity, good life, right? So to have these camps is intentional. Is intentional to have that
Hmm.
place as a place of war with the camps, with the NGO, and that's what you were saying with the UN, all of that.
Hmm.
It's a it's a
It's
market.
intentional.
I'm sorry,
It
sorry to say this,
it's a
but
market. No,
this is
it's a
the
market,
market. It's a market,
and it's a very
right?
profitable market for
It's a
them.
profitable market. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a profitable market. So when you look at this, you think of that, right? And
Hmm.
something I was saying with my Sudanese friends, what can I do, right? As a Sudani person, there's one thing I can do, so I rather do it. Like for me,
Yeah.
doing this podcast and talk to you about this, right? And that one made
Yes.
me angry about Sudan when I'm living in a community. At least like Sudan is a huge community. In a small piece of land, there are 20 people. Right, in any given moment, in a cafe you will find like 100 people, right? There's a
Yeah.
community everywhere, and if 10 or 5 out of these people stood against something that was happening, would have been somewhere else, right? Just like
Yeah.
what happened at the sit-in. That's why the sit-in scared the hell out of them,
And that's why
right?
the sit-in was our utopia. I mean,
It was a
it's
Ethiopia. It was Camilla's city. It was Camilla's
yeah.
city.
And I was talking to who was I talking to? I think Sarah again, because
Mm.
we take to vent to each other a lot regarding what's happening. And
I
I was
can only
talking to
imagine
her
because you two are doing the same thing. So,
exactly. So I was talking to her about not reporting and reporting.
mm.
Yeah. Uh, the fear that we get when we stay away from the timeline for so long that lots would happen that would just get missed or ignored. And we were trying to understand that. I told Sarah, I was like, this is the same feeling in the sit-in. When I was
Mm.
like in 2019, when we had the sit-in, when I'm in the sit-in, I'm very comfortable. I know that,
Mm.
although at that time it was the most dangerous zone in Sudan
Yeah,
because
it was.
you're surrounded by guns everywhere and nobody wants you here. Nobody in power
Could
wants
be
you
killed
here.
any moment. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm inside, I'm in relief. I could sleep peacefully.
Mm.
The moment I go home to change or I'm getting prepared to go to work because it was like you have to balance. You go to work, then you go for the sit-in. If you have the time, you can spend the whole night till the morning in the sit-in and go again home, change, and
Mm.
then it's a cycle like that. Or depends on your schedule. So I was like, the moment I leave, something like as if someone has my heart in their hand
Mm.
and like it's like controlling me. Like I feel like I have this fear. They're gonna evacuate it. They're gonna ransack the place. This fear whenever I'm out. But when I'm in, I'm okay. I'm here.
It's
I'm
gonna
not in
happen
the
to all of
yeah
us, so I don't
exactly.
care.
Nothing's
Yeah.
gonna yeah. So that's the same feeling that comes to the point you were talking about of or just
Reporting. Yeah.
yeah repel
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I have this fear of like missing out, like blinking and it's wiped out. So I didn't like the fear of like I was not even there to witness. I can't even
Mm.
deem myself as a witness for
Yeah.
what's happened. So this is the fear that I have,
It
and everything I do is to compensate this fear of what can I do, what can I do, what can I do. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
you actually did a great job
yeah,
at answering this. I think it is the survival guilt.
yeah.
And we were
Of
talking
course.
about how survival guilt has layers with you as someone who's like living abroad. You have your
Mm,
family there, and then this is your country as well, and you're safe, but you're not safe emotionally. There's
mm,
layers to the survival
yeah,
guilt,
yeah.
right?
Mm,
And the
mm,
survival guilt, and you feel responsible. You feel like it's your duty to report, right?
mm,
Even me, I feel it's my duty um when I see you posting and Sarah posting, I'm like, I want to share everything you do. This is
mm,
how I feel all the time. Of I think it's a mash of survival guilt, your duty, your responsibility, and
mm,
also it is it's innate in our nature to belong to a place, to belong to a
yeah.
land, and this is where we
Mm,
belong. And it's right
yeah.
now it's being violated. right? And
Yeah.
our people are being killed, and
Mm.
many like disturbing things are happening. So you want to be there. It's more comfortable for you, just like the sit-in, to be there.
Yeah.
How what happened at the sit-in? Weren't you there when things happened on the last day? Did you go back to Darfur? How did you
Yeah.
manage it
Uh,
out of there?
th- th- I've been living in Khartoum as my main residence place since 2016 because I
Mm,
had a job there and I was working in Khartoum. So, the sit-in on the June 3rd, I stayed in the sit-in until 2 a.m.
mm-hmm.
And then I had like an asthma attack. So I had to be
Oh,
carried to
sorry.
the ER, to Bahri ER. It's okay. Like that happens in Sudan like every 3 weeks. So it's really not a big deal. But I had to get my
Mm,
Ventolin some way. So,
mm,
they carried me to Bahri emergency room. And I was there getting treated, and my brother came and collected me, and we reached home at 5 a.m. And then I
subhanallah.
saw in the news that it's been burned.
Oh,
So, and I like the whole day after that it's a blank. I still cannot get the memory out. I don't remember what happened the next 24 hours. The last
yeah.
thing I remember, I was like looking at like stepping inside our home in Khartoum, in Durman تحديدا, and
Mhm.
looking at the TV screen. I was like, is this live? Yeah, and my sister-in-law would be like, yes, this is live. So, and that's the thing. Last thing I remember. After that, it always jumps into Al Eid day. It was
Mm,
not Eid. Everywhere was closed. We were in our neighborhood. We were really digging the earth just to forbid nobody to move. No one should carry on their lives today because they did that yesterday. So like, it's just like a week of silence. Like for an entire week, we did not leave our homes. For an entire week, we were just in shock, I guess, as everybody else.
mm,
And yeah, this is my recollection of it. And I remember before leaving, um, my last memory in the sit-in is that everybody was talking about, oh, they're gonna attack, they're gonna attack, they're gonna attack. And it was like they're going to attack, so let's all be here. It wasn't they're going to attack, let's leave. It was going to attack, so people should come. So because if they find like few number of us,
you'll kill
it will
them.
be easy. Maybe if they see like there are millions here, they will be like, oh no, we cannot do that today. You know.
They
So
don't care.
and
They
this
don't
is
care.
everybody's post on Facebook. Hey, there are rumors that are going to attack, so please come back. Everybody was telling everyone come back, and everybody was moving back to the land of the sit-in. But
I
at
know
the end of
because my friend
hmm,
was saying that they're going,
hmm,
and they saw them going to the sit-in, and they were blocked
yeah,
to reach the sit-in before the
exactly,
attack happened. You know,
yeah,
you guys, I'm literally like my whole body is in goosebumps, and I'm like experiencing it again. Um,
yeah. And I
yeah,
feel
we
for
had a
you.
yeah.
If you have watched that on your TV screen, you have
I
suffered more
watched it
than
on my
I.
phone.
You
I
have
watched it.
suffered more than I. Because
It
for us in Sudan, it was. I think it's not as traumatic as for people who are abroad. Because you're literally
it's
hands
traumatic
off.
for me.
You can't do anything about it. At least in Sudan, we did something. We rioted or we shouted or we like, when you look at your neighbor, he understands what you're feeling. You didn't feel like you didn't have to go to work the next day. We did not have to do that. Now I feel that like, I remember the day I was making a video regarding the Human Rights Watch report, and I was in such a mess. And everybody saw that video would realize I was in a mess. I recorded it 10 times and I couldn't go through it every single time. So the cut that I got to post is a cut from 10 different recordings. I take the part where I could hold my breath and then add to it. So, and after editing, I changed my clothes and went to work. And I hated the entire earth on that day. Like, I don't want to go to work. I want to riot. I want to smash something. I want to scream. Like I just don't want to be a civilized member of the society. I did not want to do that
No.
that day. So I felt like, oh my God, think of all the Sudanese people who were living abroad in 2019 when they were watching that on their TV screens or their cell phones, and they had to be a civilized, filled with etiquette to the community at the same time. I cannot endure that. So I feel for you guys.
So there's a time difference for me, and
Yeah.
I just woke up because during that time I was doing dialysis, and I do it at at night, and it was 9 hours of dialysis. So I sleep through it,
Mm,
and then I gained the habit of sleeping in at that time, around that time, because it
mm,
won't stop till 8 p.m. or something like that, 7 p.m.
mm,
if I started earlier. So I usually, like, the last bit of it is the most painful for me. So I try to sleep in, but usually I wake up. So it was the last bit of dialysis, and I'm checking Twitter and everything,
mm,
and I'm seeing the videos,
mm.
and I'm just like, what just happened? And I'm like, the thing with that is you don't know if it is it true. I just woke up, is it true? Like, is it true?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the stories, and I'm like, you cannot tell which story is the right story. You cannot tell you know what I mean? And then, like, it's
Mm,
not on TV for me, it's on my phone. I'm listening, like, I'm reading the comments, I'm reading the posts, like, and the and there's like there's a long video from a street camera. I
mm.
still remember that because it was really far away, and some of, like, what's called RSF soldiers were part of it, right? And then
Yeah.
there's
We all
some
saw the same
eyewitness.
footage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all saw the same footage. So
Mm,
it's just, I watched the entire video, and I think a week after, I think a week or 2 weeks after that, is when
mm.
I turned off all my social media, because I couldn't take the stories. I couldn't take everything in. And I just, I wish I died there with them. And at that time I was literally dying too. It wasn't like anything. I was on dialysis. I didn't know if I would get a transplant. It was COVID. We were just, like, locked
Yeah.
in. I was in a good place anyway to start with. So I
Mm.
had to choose. I had to make the tough choice. Just like you making the tough choice of getting dressed and going to work, right?
Yeah.
um
Because
so it was really hard, and
yeah.
we're just documenting this for people to know how we feel about it. I'm so sorry that I brought you back
No,
to
no,
that
no. Don't feel sorry
hard
at
memory.
all.
Yeah,
No,
it's hard.
I told you I have good training. Like
Still,
it
uh,
never. Yeah. But thank
I
you
don't
for the
think
sentiment. Yeah.
no one deserves to have such a good training on such a topic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I still think, I just still think you don't deserve to have that training at such a young age and going through all of that. So I don't wish for you to, like, be like, go back and forth on this, but I think you still think it's important to document it.
Yeah. I really
So
understand you. Mm.
I know you understand, but I keep
No,
restating
it's
it.
fine.
I love your film Modathir because it's different. It's different. You that kid who grew up in a serene place. You grew
Mm.
up in your land where your roots are, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're from, like, Kordofan and Ubaid,
Kurdistan.
but
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
okay.
It's
Niala was your
connected.
it's connected, and
Niala is
Niala is your
my
home.
root. Yeah. Is my
Is
ancestral
Niala
land,
is
my
you?
chosen
Yes,
ancestry.
yes, yes. You're chosen ancestry, and that's
Yeah.
how it is for most of us, right?
Yeah.
So and then you at such a young age, and I think that's something you and I have in common at young age, to experience a different reality, right, from
Yeah.
people around you, and then you go to the glamorous city of Khartoum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so glamorized, and you're like, oh, I miss Niala. Yeah, and you try to tell everyone around you that you don't understand, it's overrated.
It's
you know
overrated. And when I said that, people were bamboozled.
yeah,
I
they're
had
like,
a
how dare
friend
you?
who's from Kosti, and I'm a very talkative person. And in university, like, and thankfully, I had the social skills to have so many friends. Like that's something I was blessed with.
Yes.
So I was talking to her, and we were like, yeah, and she's very radical in everything. And
Yeah.
that's why I appreciate her so much.
Yes.
So she's like, she's from Kosti and I'm from Niala. And she was like, I was like, okay, let's grab two sandwiches and and let's talk, let's gossip about Khartoum. Let's just
Shout.
do it. Because, yeah, let's talk about Khartoum. And we were talking, and she was glamorizing Kosti, and Kosti is a glamorous place. And
Yeah.
I was speaking like, if you hear me talk about Nyala, you would be like, oh, okay, this is Wonderland. We must go there immediately. So we were just hyping each other up, you know? And the connection was hatred for Khartoum. That was the connection.
Okay.
So
It,
yeah.
it, it,
So
it
yeah.
does. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. It's that okay, not to sound like haters for Khartoum right now when things are like really not so good, um, but to just I think everyone in their land experienced that when a city is very glamorized and you're considered somehow like not that city like civilized because you're coming from a city that's not
Yeah.
the big city, right? So
Mm,
similar to here in Canada, Toronto is the city, right? And
yeah.
now everyone's hating on Toronto as well, just like that. So it's the same experience and you're like it's not that great, it's not that great, even though I'm a Toronto girl. You're all
Yeah.
Canadians. I love Toronto. So it's not as good as you think it is.
That's it is. So
That's what it is.
yeah. So we had this on and off, and whenever I get the chance to talk about Niala, I never skip it. I was
Yeah.
like, for some
Keep
point,
talking.
my, one day I invited my sister to my university, my college.
Mm,
Like
mm,
I was like, just spend the day with me. Like
mm,
that's it.
mm.
Like, and get to know my friends, get to know like the
Yeah,
environment
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So, and she's older than me, but she looks younger all the time, and everybody thought that she was my younger sister, and I took that because it's
It's like
my
Cyprian.
chance to be the older sibling. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
miss it. So
Mm,
she like and everybody was asking her about Niala.
mm.
They'd be like, "Is it really as Modathir is saying? Is it really like that?" And she'd be like, "What have you been telling these people?"
You told him about yeah as if it was
Hell, like,
the chosen land. Yeah.
yeah, and she
Yeah.
was
It
like,
is for
"Okay,
you.
you." She like, who signed you as an ambassador, and why are you gonna make Nialo overpopulated again? Like, we don't want everybody going back there, so just give it like, shut your mouth, don't
Yeah.
talk too much
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your point was like me being a kid who grew up from this beautiful place, Niala, that went to Khartoum city that is not glamorized. Yeah. It's always for me when I'm in Khartoum, especially during my university years when I was studying, I
Mm,
look up for the vacation, for the holiday. Not
mm,
because I'm tired of studying, I do that, but I want to go back home. And
yeah.
I used to book my flights because at that time we did not have if you decide to go take the road to Niala, like take the bus,
Mm.
it will take you 2 days
Days. Mm,
from Khartoum, and I
mm.
cannot. And it's also not like it's not the safest trip.
Root.
Yeah,
Mm.
so I had to go through like take a flight there. So I planned my flight like 2 hours after my last exam session.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
to reach the airport. Yeah.
exactly. From like I take my suitcase like from university, I go to the airport immediately. I don't want to go anywhere. And people were so confused by that. Why are your suitcase here?
Yeah. Because I'm going
I was like,
home.
I'm
Mm.
going home, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
and I wanted to feel the feeling of people. Honestly, I wanted to have the feeling of the other kids who are coming from Al Jazeera or they're
Mm.
coming from River Nile State because just like a 1 hour. Like I had a friend who was coming from LT. She really like a 45 minutes road trip.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna tell you that I was lucky, because I would literally. My friend used to say, "I wish I had the freedom you have," right? Because I lived like alone in Durman, and I would be
Hmm.
sitting with them. It's Thursday,
Yeah,
university. It's like 2
Hmm.
p.m. I look at her and said, I'm just gonna go to Medani. And she's like,
Yeah,
what? How are you gonna reach the Almin Al Bari, which is like the station? I was like, I'll just go to
yeah,
Suq Shabi because it's here. There's like usually, how the
yeah. From
what's
Al
called
Ahfad to
local
Sha'b Ijbari. Yeah,
yeah, it's very close, and there's always a bus. There's
Yeah.
the scariest bus is so sketchy. The people in there is sketchy, but I didn't care. I didn't care. One time I had to jump over something to get to the last ticket on the bus, the last seat. You know, I was in very
Yeah.
uncomfortable position, and I had to like jump to
Oh,
that seat wearing a skirt. You know, no,
oh,
again,
the
being a
struggle.
woman. None of
Mm-mm.
the guys was gentleman enough to give me their seat. I was
No
like,
one
what
said,
is
okay, take my seat.
yeah, and I was remember I was fasting, right?
Mm.
So I would always be like, I'll just go. Yeah, I didn't care. I wouldn't even go home to change. I'll
Yeah,
just
yeah,
whatever I was reading, I'll just go because it's like 3 hours in that bus from Suga Shabi, and
yeah,
I'll just go spend the day on or the weekends, and then we'll come back. And I used to feel like this rebirth because I'll be so suffocated, and I needed a break. And I was fortunate enough for my mom and my
yeah.
siblings to live there as well, right? So it was fun. When
And I
going
used
back
to
was
be
like,
jealous of that. I used to be jealous
mm,
of people like from like you. I used to be jealous of them
mm,
because they get to be every weekend with their family, and I have to wait until the end of the semester to go.
yeah,
And so I'll take the fastest route. I'll take the plane, and
yeah.
everybody was like, "Why are you acting so bougie? Take a plane to Nial." I was like,
I'm
I'm not
bougie.
being bougie. I'm
Just
like
accept it.
I'm yearning like I'll be like yes I'm
Yeah,
good, yeah I would do that outside, but in my like I want to be, I just want to be at home. I want
you're
to annoy my
impatient.
other siblings. Yeah, I just want to be there
Yeah.
annoying them. So
Yes.
yeah, so that was the experience for me. I spend my days in a Khartoum, and by the way, not I'm not trashing Khartoum because I really have a great appreciation for Khartoum city. It benefited me
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
lot. Like I got to develop my personality a lot. I got to make connections with people. I created lots of good friends in Khartoum, but I would always be like hoping for the day, okay, that I'm going home. And that made pressure also not to fail any subject because I don't want to cut my vacation to come for,
Yeah, to
Malahib.
do the course,
Yeah,
summer
I don't want
course.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
that. So I have to study hard.
Yes, I
So
can relate. Yeah, everyone who's been studying somewhere not around home, it's just
mm,
home where you grew up, where your people at, the land you like you chose to be home, right? And within a country, you can do that, and that does not differentiate people. It doesn't take them away. I think you know there's a verse إن خلقناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله
my
أتقاكم. We have
God.
created
So,
you into
mm,
tribes and nations to get to know each other,
yeah,
right? This is the purpose. It's the purpose. We've been created like that for a purpose to get to know each other. And I remember telling my friends, come with me to Medani. You know, come see Medani. You know, it's you probably won't see
Sudan
it the
is
same
such a
way I
beautiful
see it.
place.
Such
Yeah,
a beautiful place. You won't see it the same way I see it, but at the end of the day, you will know how it looks like. You will see how people are. You will stop saying, "Oh, akalim, 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 provinces, provinces." You haven't seen the provinces. Sudan is such a beautiful country with so much diverse land. Even the color of the dirt looks, the ground looks different. The Nile, the
it
blue
is
Nile, looks
smells
different than the
different.
white Nile. It smells different. The rain is different. You know,
Yeah, I
everything
went
is
to
different.
Medani and I just want to take the opportunity to express my love for Medani. I went to Medani in 2017
Yeah.
and for a long weekend, like for 4 days, and it was the closest thing I experienced to Niala. Like
Niala.
two places, Medani and Atbara. Those
Mm,
two cities, like I hold them dear to my heart, though I visited once,
yeah.
because I just love it. I just love Medani for one reason. It's a very walkable city. You can walk
Yeah,
anywhere. And
yeah,
I
it
love
is.
that.
It's, it is. It is. It
So
is.
yeah,
And
I would understand
yeah,
why
the walk
people
by
would
the
love
Nile is
Medani so
very
much.
yeah. The walk
Yeah,
by the Nile is very beautiful, and also it's not as hot as Khartoum somehow.
honestly,
The weather
yeah,
is way better. The weather
yeah,
is way better. I really loved. I have such like when RSF took over Medani, it was heartbreaking. Like I cried. It hit me harder
yeah.
than
Me too.
Khartoum for many reasons, right? So again, one of the most beautiful films I get to listen to, Modathir, right?
Yeah,
I you know, what do you think is a theme in your film? I just have to ask this question usually. What do you
yeah.
think
The
the theme so
theme would
far?
be growth.
Growth. Yeah,
The
that's
theme in
what.
my film would be growth, because from that little child that I pictured in the first in the opening scene,
Hmm.
I am way different person than that child now. It's like I'm not the same, of course, and deep down, so the growth at the end of the day, it would be like if I were to say a closing scene,
Mm,
uh, it would be also the same place,
mm,
the same home, the same sewing machine.
yeah.
And because I feel like the growth, or when I said growth, is that um, I feel growing up, my family and my mother specifically, and my other siblings, those who raised me, and those
Mm,
who shaped my vision to the world. Like, I lost my father at a very young age, like he died when I was 4. So,
sorry.
so my mom had to fill in, and oh, that's a different story. Anyway, that has like geared me to navigate the world the way I am doing it today, and
Mm,
it has geared me to like to have less fear and
mm,
never to be too calculated. That's the growth.
mm.
Like now I am not being very calculated regarding my life. I am not putting like everything must be in a very tight end. Like I know because
You're
it will
flexible.
not go as I planned 100%. And I
And
let go
that's,
of that.
yeah, that's
And
the
that's the
beauty of it.
growth that that's the growth that I have learned
Mm,
now. And I'm very thankful and grateful. If I didn't have that childhood, I didn't have that experience as one of 9,
mm,
and you know, with everything that has contributed to my upbringing, I wouldn't
mhm,
be able to see that I've grown a lot
mhm.
from where I've come from. And yeah, the theme would be growth.
I love your theme, and I agree with you. And I just have to say that you have an amazing mother. I wanted to say that. May Allah bless her soul, since
Yeah.
you told me my mom prepared me for what happened, what will happen, and I was like, wow, that's
Mm.
such a hard topic to address, and to be
Yeah.
brave enough to talk to. Yeah, you're talking to a man, a
Yeah.
17 years old kid with
Yeah.
so much ego and pride and anger, you know.
Question.
I'm just gonna questions. I'm just gonna point this out, right? Because I have a 17-year-old brother,
Mm.
and I say things like, well, maybe you should cut a little bit of your hair. We live in North America
Mm.
here. You're black. You're
Yeah.
black. You're black here. You're gonna be racialized, right? And again, the hair is a big topic. And so to navigate that with you at such a young age, amazing mom, obviously raised you to be who you are today, which is an admirable person for me, like carrying the weight of reporting everything that's happening in Sudan, right? You're being a role model. Maybe a couple of years from now, you'll figure out that you'll see the growth, the person you came to be, right? And I know you're not doing it to be a role model. You're not. I know
I
the
don't want
the
to be a
the
role model
reasons
at all.
you don't
I
want
don't
to
want to
be.
do.
You're like, I'm full of flows. What are you talking about? And I get it. I get it. That sort of feeling. I get it when someone like Ru'a yesterday told me, "Oh, you someone like you did this. So you're inspiring me." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" There's some rejection there, but accept it. You are where you are because you're supposed to be there, and you've been prepared, just like what you've been said. Your
Mm.
travels from Niala to Khartoum, and then I when you were saying I made the decision to leave Sudan, my
Mm.
family, we don't leave our
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
I was like, this man grown in that specific
Yeah.
moment. It's just
Yeah.
that specific moment made him who he is today.
Mm.
Along a lot of them, but along
Yeah.
a lot of moments you have told me, but that moment was very um
Yeah. That moment is a
crucial.
pivotal moment in my life.
Yeah, I was looking for
Yeah.
that word, pivotal. I was like, is it? And then I kept remembering pivot. I was like, is this a word? But it
It
is a
is.
pivotal. It is a pivotal
Yeah.
moment in your life, and
Mm.
it happened for a reason. Just like when I got
Mm.
sick, of course they're different. Like there are transitions in our lives where we're like, I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to go through this, but they happen for us, and we need to accept that, right? Just like
Yeah.
how this is a good thing for you today. You're not just the sole breeder, or like helping family, and probably not only
Yeah.
your family. And that's the reality of life for Sudani
That
people and men.
that's our all reality. That's every
this
Sudani
is this is
person reality. Yeah.
it's reality, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just not just that, you're also reporting. So this is huge, this is big, because I don't have it in me to do this. So I applaud you every day, you know. So to say I'm honored to have you here, not just as a guest, but it's your first podcast and we've made
It's
it.
and it's still the question is why, because I look at the guests you've got, and like
Yeah.
you've got Ala, like honestly, and I was
everyone
like,
everyone is
why am
like,
I
okay,
here?
Ala episode, Ustaz Ala Khair, right? Because people are like, don't call him just Ala. He's
Yeah,
such a
Ustad Ala
humble
Khair.
soul that he doesn't care with titles. And when he said yes to me, because I expected to be ghosted, I'm not, because I sent to a lot of Sudani creators and they ghosted me. So if you're watching this, I have got Ala Khair. I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
So
he made it, and Ala Khair is like he's like first of all, I'm so like I'm just gonna point out every single time that me and Ala are both from Niala, and I'm not gonna let go
yeah.
of that. I'm not gonna let go of
Yeah,
that.
no.
So,
We're
and
cousins. I don't care if we're not. We're
yeah,
cousins.
exactly. Like I know proximity is major for me. So,
I know.
but he's can I just say this? Everybody who's watching or listening, please listen and watch Ala Khair episode.
Episode. Yeah.
It will move you in ways.
Yeah.
And I applaud you,
I was
and I'm honored
crying.
that I'm here, and applaud you
Thank you.
for carrying the conversation. And I have already told you this before, but I'm gonna say it again. The way you carried the conversation, I don't think I could carry it like that, because
Thank you.
it demanded a lot of strength, like a lot of, because I would break down in the middle and I'd be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's
I
it.
did I did I
But
did
I'm very
cry. I did cry, but his
yeah
episode, because he's Ala Khair,
yeah
Staz Ala Khair,
yeah
I didn't have it, him and I split the screen. I gave him the screen because I was like, just so I was crying, but no one saw the tears, but that's okay. It wasn't about me. And I
yeah
think not even Staz Ala was for him, it wasn't about him. It was about this everything,
yeah
the pictures and everything.
exactly.
And just the funny thing, after I got Ustaz Ala, everyone is like, you got him, I'm not gonna come after. And I was like, you guys, we need to do this.
It hit me like that. I was like, what are you doing here?
No, but I look up to you, and I
Thank
think
you.
every story is important. Yours in particular, you're carrying so many stories, and I know today's like a story or film is just a slice of your life.
Yeah.
And as I said before, we probably will have more conversation to go. Right.
Yeah.
I usually ask my guests what do they want to name their films.
Should be one person. I don't
One
know.
person.
Yeah. Should be the title.
Okay, I'll write one
Because
person here, and then you can think
yeah,
about
I'm
it
gonna
and let
modify
me
it to
know. But
something more expressive, because my point is that like this, yeah, it's a film, yeah, but it's a story of one person. There are millions like
that's
him.
how films are made. They're
Yeah.
not millions like you. Everyone is different, unique. I know this is a cliche, but you're
Yeah.
carrying so many stories within you that you're not aware of them, and all are
Mm.
important, all to be. I love storytelling. Every story should be told, even if it's like
Yeah.
a minor story. It can change someone else's life and help them, right? And
Yeah.
someone like you could have been in that office when the official said, oh, 22 kids from Darfur, one of them would be like, maybe I don't deserve to be here. No, this situation could have ruined his life or their life, right? But you chose
Yes.
to act differently. You chose to take this to a different level. You chose to accept
Yeah.
Khartoum. You chose to make
Yeah.
friendships in Khartoum and talk about it. And you chose to have the love and hate relationship with the city, coming back and forth, learning everything with it, and go to the sit-in and risk dying for the country that somehow decided to segregate you from others, right? And again, you're like, this land doesn't love me anymore. You left, and now you love it even more. So all of these stories are important. They're crucial. They need to be told, because I don't want anyone else to tell your story, Modathir. That's why you're here.
Thank you.
Does this answer your question?
It means a lot, and this is such a moving answer. Oh my! Like you're getting me emotional. I hold it up for the entire 2 hours. Hold it up together. So you're not gonna. I'm not gonna break here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
All I
you.
can say is just thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Modathir. And thank you,
Thank you.
everyone who's watching or listening to the Lemon Narrative podcast with Sabrine. I know this is a special episode. I hope you watch it with care and love for Modathir and for everyone in Sudan. And everything related to Modathir will be in the description below. And please, please, please keep your eyes on Sudan. Care for Sudan. Educate yourself about Sudan. And if you have a little bit of cash, donate because we need it. And I say we, even though I'm not the one who need it, is because these are my people. It's my land, and we can't go further without all of you, without your care. So thank you, everyone. Until I see you next time. Bye. لو مات شهيد يفديك باقي الشباب يمنيك